Hey everyone, so this video is going to be based on what to do next once you have your tarot cards. What to do next, okay? Most of you, you're excited, you got your new cards, and you're looking at them like, whoa, okay, I can't wait. But it can be overwhelming at the same time because it's a lot of cards to remember. Not everyone can, now unless you have good memory and you can memorize all of them, kudos. But it does take time, so don't get overwhelmed. It's gonna take some patience and some practice, okay? From my experience, I was all over the place. I was never taught tarot. I was told a lot of bad things about it, and I did a lot of my research. I did a lot of research because I just heard a lot of negative things. People were telling me you need to be gifted, it's the devil, and all of that was just false, you know? So, if you were skeptical because of that, like I said, do your research. To go back to what I was talking about, so I'm going to show you some tricks, some tips of what you can do that will help guide you on learning how to learn the meanings of the cards. Now, like I said, try to stick with whatever works for you, okay? For me, I just looked through the cards. I did not look at the book because I was so fascinated with the images that I want to look at it. I'm like testing myself out. Let's see what I can get from this card just by looking at it, you know? And that's what I did. And then some of the cards that I didn't like, you know, I started getting a little meaning, looking up the meanings of it. And then I finally started reading the book. So it made more sense and I got more meaning out of it. Now, this does take some time, okay? So when you do this more and more, you start to realize a lot more things you didn't see before. So if you did something different when you started, comment below. What did you do? Like what tricks, what techniques did you do that helped you when you were a tarot beginner? So stay tuned. So if there's something in particular you're looking for that you want to listen, just click down below and you'll see the timestamp. So instead of watching the whole video, you could just click what you want to listen to. So that way you don't have to worry about waiting for the discussion that we're going to talk about. Are you using anything to protect your cards? What do you mean? I mean, when you're using your cards and you're practicing and you're looking at them, you're doing readings, are you storing your cards? You want to make sure your cards doesn't get any dirt. Because when you do them for a while, they start to get dirty when you don't if you don't take good care of them. So you can have a cloth, like a table mat, or something like I have. This is like a piece of scrap fabric that I got at Joann's. You can get a piece of fabric and use that for when you're doing readings, or even when you're whatever you're using it for. Make sure you have your cards on something. If you do it on your bed, that's fine. Just make sure you don't have anything around that you're gonna spill anything on your cards. You can even use a pillowcase. I know it sounds funny, but you can use a pillowcase to put your cards on top of it when you're doing a reading. Scraps of fabric, anything. And if you're like crafty like me and you crochet and you have a crochet blanket, use that. Use anything that's gonna keep your cards from getting dirty. Another thing, are you storing your cards? Meaning, where are you storing your cards? If you have a box that you store them in, you can use that. But my thing about it is when you keep using the box that it came with, depending how sturdy it is, if it's not sturdy, it's gonna end up breaking, you know, depending how often you do the tarot cards. So you can go to the Dollar Tree and get a makeup bag, which I'm gonna show you. So if you don't have anything to store your bags, you're like, well, I ain't got no money to buy this and that. Well, there's Dollar Tree. So you could use a makeup bag, store your tarot cards in it, and if it came with a book, a small book, you can store it in here too without it getting dirty. You can also get a pencil case. a pencil case in a Dollar Tree. You don't have to, it does not have to be anything fancy. You don't want to spend so much money on something fancy to store your cards. Maybe later on, you know, once you get advanced and you want something really nice, then you can do that. This is just my suggestion. If you you just want something to store your cards in, you don't have to worry about spending money. So you could get like a pencil case to store your cards in. If you have like a clutch bag that you don't even use, you can store your cards in it as well. Dollar Tree, I believe they have like this little storage, like this, it's like, I think it's three drawers. You can get it at the Dollar Tree or in the craft store, and you can store your tarot cards. If you have stones, you can store your stones in it, and your incense. That's just another idea if you're into that. Or if you're a little crafty like me, you want to make yourself a bag. This one I crocheted myself. I crocheted another one. Okay, and this is my deck right here. If you're interested in making one yourself, just click like and subscribe, because I am going to add my other YouTube channel, which is like the DIY channel. So I'll show you how to make your own bag for your tarot cards, okay? So that's another way to store your cards without it getting dirty, and it protects your cards. Now, if you don't have anything to store them, you don't have a box, or you don't like the box, you can buy a crystal, a clear quartz crystal, I suggest. And what you do is, if you don't have anywhere to store your cards, then what you do is you're gonna put the clear quartz crystal on top and just leave it there. And what that's gonna do is just gonna collect any energy, any negative energy or any energy in the cards, and any energy preventing it to get on your cards, getting attached to your cards, if that makes sense. So what tools do I need? The tools that you only need is a journal and a pen. Reason why is when you're starting out and you're still you're figuring out the meaning of the cards, it's good to record them on the book. Now if you want a fancy book, you could get it in Barnes and Nobles or in a bookstore, or if you don't care for what it looks like, Dollar Tree will be your best friend. This I got at the Dollar Tree. Okay, you could decorate it, do whatever you want on the book, but definitely get a journal. I got my journal when I first started, and I was meditating with the cards, you know, writing the meanings down, how I felt from each card. And as you know, months go by, the years go by, I started seeing the difference, how I got more and more meaning out of the cards. You'll be surprised at how much you learn from when you started, you know, from the beginning. So definitely get a book, a journal, whatever you will call it, especially if you're gonna practice. A good way to practice with your friends, you know, have them pick a card and start getting into like looking the meanings of it, you know, because when you know a person, what they've been through, it also will help you get the meaning of the card as well, if that makes sense. But if you were like me, because before I was not comfortable coming out that I do tarot, and now I am, so because I feel more confident, but don't be scared with that. But like I said, get a notebook, practice with your friends or family. It'll be a great way for a practice as well. Make sure you record anything and everything. There's no right or wrong of how you are writing the meanings. Okay, no right or wrong. Okay, you can write, if you can't think of anything, write one keyword. Maybe the next time that you come across the card, then maybe you'll see something else. You know, everybody's different. So let's get started. Now you have your cards. Now I'm going to show you how to separate them. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to separate the major, the court cards, and the minor. What is that? I'm pretty sure you're saying what? Okay, so I'm going to show you. The court cards, they consist of the kings, the pages, the knights, and the queens. Okay, that is your court cards. Okay, these court cards they use for astrology. I don't want to get in depth with that and get you overwhelmed, so I'm just gonna do it step by step. So these are considered your court cards. Okay, the kings, queens, the knights, and the pages. Did I miss any? Queen, king, knights, pages. Okay, those are your court cards. So you're gonna separate those, okay, and put that pile aside. Okay. The next one is the minor arcana. What is the minor arcana? The minor arcana are the numbers. Okay, they range from 1 through 10. Okay, and it consists of 4 different suits. Okay, for instance, you got the wands. The second, the pentacles. The third, the cups. And the fourth, the swords. Okay? So you're gonna put all of those in one pile. Okay? So these are considered the minor arcana. And with this one, it doesn't say 1. Depending what kind of deck you have, it might say 1. Some will say 1 and some will say ace. Okay, ace is 1. Okay, so you're gonna separate that in a different pile, ace through 10 or 1 through 10. And this is your minor arcana. I want you to be aware of what's the minor, what's the court cards, and what's the major. So that way you're not confused, okay? So I want you to be able to understand the differences between all the cards, okay? So once you do that, okay, you're gonna have the minor arcana on a separate pile, okay? Then lastly, you're gonna have the major arcana, and the major arcana consists of 22 cards, okay? What is the major arcana? They are trump cards, like I showed you, okay? So I'm gonna show you a few. These are the major cards. So this you're gonna put on a separate pile, okay? That you're gonna put in a separate pile. So you should have 3 piles, okay? 3 piles. So once you're done, then we're gonna go to the next step. Okay, so now you're gonna have a yes and no pile, or I like pile and I don't like, okay? Because I want you to look at the images, okay? Look at the images, okay? This is something that's gonna be, this is how I started with mine. Now you could do it different. This may not resonate with you, could resonate with someone else, but I suggest maybe give it a try and see. So grab any pile that you like, whatever pile, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at the card. Okay, look at the card. Do you like this card? If you feel like you like this card, like, okay, put that in the yes pile. I love pile. I like, put it in the yes pile, okay? Because the ones that you say yes, you might be able to get more meaning of it, okay? You're gonna start feeling like, oh wow, you know what? This is what I feel about this, okay? But let's say you come across a card and you didn't like it. You just had this, like, I don't like this card. So let's say I don't like this card. I'm not feeling it. Then you put that in no pile, okay? So once you get the yes and no pile with all the cards, the major, the minor, and the court cards, you're gonna have 2 piles. You're gonna have the piles you like and the piles you don't like. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the piles that you do like, okay? So, and then you're gonna have your journal. Look at the images, you know? Look at the images and say, you know, I like this one. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel when you're looking at the card? You know? Look at in detail, okay? Try to get as much meaning as you can with each card. Don't overwhelm yourself. There's no wrong or right way, okay? Do that. Now, if you don't have the book, this is a good way to give it a try. And if you do have the book, but you're like me, you just wanted to jump into the images, just looking at it, then you could do that too. What I did is I started looking at the images, writing how I felt. Like, okay, this made me feel good. I feel, there's a lot of opportunity, good fortune. I see passion, things like that. Look at the details, the colors. What stands out to you the most, When you do that, record that in a journal. Write your thoughts, write the meanings down. It's up to you. But once you do the yes pile, if you want to look up the meanings, there is some websites that has keywords, okay? You can compare it if you want and just take down 3 keywords. Don't go crazy with writing the full meaning. You don't really need that. You really don't really need that. But if there's something that you're curious, okay, I want to know a little more of this meaning, and you want to see if you're right, there's no right or wrong with how you feel. Everybody looks at the cards differently. They read the cards differently. You may see things I don't see in this card, So there's no wrong or right way. Everybody's deck is different, okay? So when you do that, and if you want to Google and you're curious, hey, I want to see what this means, then I suggest you write 3 keywords that stands out to you, and then write that in a journal. Just write down, okay, the magician, and then you just write down the 3 keywords. Don't overwhelm yourself. But if that's what you want to do, you could do that. Also, let's say you do have the book, okay? And some of them won't have the keywords in it. Won't have it broken down. Like for instance, this book that I have was my first deck. Okay, I like to pick out words that stood out to me for the meaning, and that's how I did it. So once I felt a little comfortable, got a little bit of meaning for each card, I started going back to reading this, and I got more comfortable. If you have a book with your tarot deck, I would read it I was the type that I jumped into the tarot cards in the book. Everybody's different. Once I felt a little more comfortable, I was like, let me read the book. But definitely read the book. Trust me, it does help too, because all the decks are different, but it does tell you a storyline about each one, what each god or what each character had been through. And it does help. It does really help bring out more of a meaning. So definitely take down keywords of what you're reading in the book too. If you want to take posties, get posties. That's what I did. Posties, write down what did you get from reading it, and put it in the book, so that when you're flipping and doing a reading for somebody, you could flip it and be like, okay, well, this and that, whatever works for you. There's no wrong or right way. Or if you do it differently and you decided to look up the meanings and writing the meanings down, and then you just want to jump into it, it can be frustrating when you're trying to learn. So if you're getting discouraged, trust me, don't get discouraged. It does take some time and patience. The thing that I want to say is, don't second guess your cards. Everybody has a way of reading them, and don't say, oh, well, I got this wrong. There's no wrong or right way. No wrong or right way. Okay. So the next one that I wanted to share is shuffling. I know everyone has different ways of shuffling. You can shuffle this way and say, give me a message. The card would fall off. I do use this technique, but I don't like using it all the time. Trust your cards. Trust your cards. Trust your intuition. You have to trust your cards. Because if you, let's say, okay, I'm shuffling the cards differently, and then I pick it back up and then I put it down, I'm like, I don't think so. You have to trust your cards. Have that bond with your cards. Don't second guess. If you're shuffling your cards, right? You're shuffling your cards and you're like, oh, this came out, I'm gonna put it back in. Do not put it back in. When a card comes off, that means it's a message. It's a message that maybe a spiritual guide, or some kind of message that needs to get across, that's trying to get across you. You're putting it back, you're ignoring it. I can't even talk. You're ignoring it, basically. Okay, so pay attention when the cards fall. Pay attention because they are messages. Okay, how to shuffle? I don't know how to shuffle. I wouldn't recommend to bending the cards. Okay, over time it can make some creases. Okay, some of them are already started because I decided I want to shuffle like playing cards. No, don't do that. Some cards you can, depending if they look like they feel like playing cards, you can do it. But the more you do it, the more you just, I can't say destroy the cards. It's just gonna, the value of it, I'm telling you. Just be very careful. You can shuffle it this way. You can put it in half like that. And, you know, cut it in half, whatever you feel, whatever calls to you. There's no wrong or right way. If someone tells you, oh, you're doing it wrong, honey, you do whatever you want. You want to shuffle this way, you want to go crazy and shabam. You know, if that's what you want to do, then do it. There's no wrong or right way. I do mine differently. As I got into tarot, mine's I would shuffle it on the table, and then I'll pick it all up. And if I see a few that were stuck and I couldn't get it in, I'm like, okay, that's a message. So then I would read that to the person I'm reading for. But like I said, there's no wrong or right way. But definitely when a card is stuck and it's not going in or it falls out, read it. That is a message, okay? Definitely do that. Pay attention. And write it down in a journal as well. You know, maybe it's some guidance that a message is trying to get to you. Could be a warning, could be a message from someone on the other side. Just pay attention when you get that, okay? The techniques that you use maybe might help someone else. Maybe it might resonate someone else. This is what I did. This is what I started doing when I was a beginner, and it worked out for me. It may work for you, it may not work for you, but just give it a try. I'm definitely going to start posting more videos and show you ways of how you can learn the meaning of the cards as well, what you need to pay attention to. Okay, so if this helped, please hit like, subscribe for more videos like this if you're a tarot beginner, or if not, you know, tag somebody you think that might be interested in doing tarot and they're not sure whether to consider doing it or not. But definitely comment below what were your techniques that you did when you started, and what worked for you and what didn't. You know, I would like to learn to see, you know, what everybody's techniques, and I would like to give it a try. So hopefully this video helped you out and hopefully gave you some clearance. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next